welcome to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today we're going to be going over Shop My Stash from 2 weeks ago, and then we're going to be cutting over and picking out new products for the next week. So if that sounds good to you, just keep on watching. And without any further ado, let's get started talking about the products that I had for the last 2 weeks. Okay, so I think we're just going to go in order of what I put on my face. So first up is going to be primer. I have them all just laid out in front of me. So I chose the L'Oreal Magic Lumi Light Infusing Primer and then the Benefit Professional. So I chose the L'Oreal one because I could tell I hadn't used it since I moved overseas. I can shake it, you can hear it. This was okay. I think I'm going to declutter it. It just has that really pearly finish when you put it on. It's very shiny. I'm okay with glow, but when it's really just pearl and white, I didn't really like this. It was almost also too oily. When I pumped it out, oil, it was all separated in my hand. I think this is just old. I also had it taped, which is how I know that I hadn't used it since I moved over, and I probably taped it because it leaks. So this is just a product that's too finicky that I think I'm not gonna wear this. The reason I pulled it in is because I hadn't worn it, so I think it's just time for it to go. The Benefit Professional, I like this a lot. I pulled it in because it's almost empty. This is a lot of air, but it's about down to here. So I really want to finish this up. I'm not going to take this with me into the next round. I want to choose a different pore filling primer, but this is really great. I've been using it for a long time. I do just kind of want to get it out of my collection and trying new ones, but staple, good. Complexion. So I chose the Maybelline Fit Me Shine Free and Balance Foundation. This is advertised towards combination skin. It is a stick foundation. I had a lot of it gone. As you can see, this is how much I have left. I probably had about half when I started, and now maybe I have a third left. I didn't get too far down into it, but I really like this stick foundation. Out of all the Fit Me, so the Matte and Poreless, the Dewy and Smooth, and then this one, this is probably my second favorite. I like the Matte and Poreless the most. You probably saw in my January empties, I finished that one completely. This is my next favorite one, with the Dewy and Smooth being last. It's really great. You can kind of see in the center here, I don't know if you can tell, but it has like two different colors. I don't know if that's what's supposed to be the shine free and balance, but it's really nice. I'm wearing it today. I'm wearing all these products on my face today so you can get an idea of what they look like. And it just wears really well. It's not too matte. It goes over my pores really well. I just overall really like this. I know some people don't like stick foundations because of the amount of product that comes in it. This has 0.32 ounces. So, I mean, that's about a third of what normal foundations have out of a standard fluid ounce. And I understand that, but I don't go through stick foundations that often, just because I find that they have heavier coverage, so I use less of it. I'm not someone who really wants that full coverage. So the way that I apply this is I'll swipe it all over my face, and then I'll use a beauty sponge to tap it out and blend it. I don't use a brush, which is maybe why I like this a little bit more. So that kind of shears out the coverage a little bit. Overall, like I said, I really like this. I don't see anyone talking about this. I think just at Ulta, I saw it and I picked it up on a whim. I don't think that this was a product that was recommended to me through YouTube, which doesn't happen very often. I'm definitely one of those suckers that will just see something on YouTube and then I'll buy it because I like the person. After that, I had the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Flawless Wear Concealer, and I have the shade 1C, which is light cool. In the Maybelline, I had the shade 130 Buff Beige, which was it's a little dark for me. It's okay, I can make it work and blend it out. Usually I wear the shade 120. I don't know why I have this shade color. It might just be that there's less shades of this. Back to the concealer. I like this concealer a lot. It's actually almost empty. I might pull the stopper out. I used this a lot when I had a full-time job back in Arizona, so I know that this is one that wears really well. It is a little bit light, but it covers really well. You can see I still have a little bit of darkness underneath my eyes, but I would rather have that than have it be too cakey. It's a good amount of coverage for a light coverage day. It's obviously no Tarte Shape Tape, but I think that this is a solid concealer that provides medium coverage but doesn't look cakey and heavy. So when you're wearing lighter coverage foundation, it blends really well without looking too obvious. All right, next up are powders. So I chose the Charlotte Tilbury, the Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder. I have the shade 1 Fair. This was also a product that I chose because I'm almost finished with it. You can see the pan just keeps getting bigger and bigger, but I'm not really making that big of a dent on it. It's interesting because this is one of those products that you hear everyone complaining that they hit pan on it so fast, but I feel once I hit pan on it, now it's never ending. It just won't stop. You can see the little ring where it's more shiny, so I can see where I kind of wore away at it, but this is still going strong. I love this powder. I'm glad that Charlotte Tilbury is switching over to refillable compacts. This is not one of them, but I'll definitely be picking up that powder and probably just sticking with it and getting the refills for it. I really like that concept. And I like that not just Charlotte Tilbury, but other brands are coming out with refillable packaging as well. I think that that's really a great step in the right direction. But this is a solid powder. It really blurs out my pores. It fills them in a little bit. I mean, you can still see them. This is still normal skin. I don't have a filter or anything. But for what it does, I think it covers pretty well. I just set my under eyes and my T-zone a little bit. And then for all over powder, I went with the Laura Mercier, the Candle Glow Sheer Perfecting Powder. This is the shade 1. So it looks like this. This is supposed to be similar to the Hourglass powders, I feel like. I didn't use it as a finishing powder. I actually used it more as a setting powder. So I would go in with the Charlotte Tilbury under my eyes, and then I would powder the rest of my face before I did bronzer, blush, and highlight. I actually really liked this. I remember I bought this because of Desi and Katie. I think mostly Katie, she used it in one of her videos. And again, I didn't hear it talked about afterwards. The only complaint I have is this is the shade 1, and I just wish they had a lighter shade. When you swatch it, it looks pretty light. Can't even really see it on my hand, but I did feel like it darkened my foundation just a little bit. But other than that, this is so beautiful. It really does give that candle glow finish. And actually, I prefer this a lot more over the Hourglass powders. I find that the Hourglass powders, they really capitalized on their finishing powders, and while I completely understand that, it's hard to find the one that you want for yourself without really diving deep and looking for it. You can't just go into the store and pick out the one you want. I feel like you really have to read the description. You have to really understand what that powder's for, because I found that I picked up the one that's more glittery, and that's my bad. I've heard that there's also ones without glitter, and I don't have any of those, and maybe I would like the Hourglass powders more if I didn't have one that I felt just had like little sparkles everywhere all over my face. But for that reason, that's why I just prefer this one over that. I will definitely keep using this. This was something that I hadn't really used, and I want to pull it back out and use it more. I liked it a lot. So next up, we have bronzer, blush, and highlight. So for the bronzer, I chose the Thrive Cosmetics Sun Chaser Bronzer in the shade Rhea. I already mentioned this, but YouTubers, they suck me in. I bought this because of Kathleen Lights. I know a lot of people bought this because of that. This is a great neutral bronzer. This is definitely light tone skin friendly. I wouldn't say fair skin. I don't know. I feel like my skin is definitely a solid light range, but it adds like fairly good definition. I like it a lot. It's easy to blend out. I used it a lot, and there's not really a dip in it. So this is, while it seems a little powdery, like I can see all the powder, I'm blowing it off, but it lasts a long time. It goes quite a ways. Haven't even made a little bit of a dip in the last 2 weeks. So that was the Thrive Cosmetics bronzer. Next, we have the Flower Beauty Blush Balm in the shade Pinched. Now, disclaimer, I'm not 100% sure that they reformulated this, and I definitely don't have the reformulated version. So if they did, please let me know in the comments. This is what I have, so this is what I used. I had never even used this before bringing this into my Shop My Stash, and it's really pretty. So the issue that I had at first is I almost just chose something else, because I was applying it, I was putting it on the back of my hand, and it has color. You can see that. It has color, it spreads out, it's very pretty. But I was putting it on the back of my hand, taking my beauty sponge and then tapping it on, and no color was coming on my cheeks. I would put 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layers, and I felt like you couldn't see the blush at all. I was like, okay, this is a super hyped up product. What am I doing wrong? Because everyone seems to like this. So instead, I tried it with a brush. So I put it on the back of my hand, and then I applied it to my cheeks, and that made the entire difference. After that, I loved it. I do think this is more of a summer shade. That's just a shade issue. It kind of gives you that sun-kissed, been out in the sun look. So it's not really winter appropriate if you're into that for February. I mean, it's very cold outside right now, not a lot of sun. But other than that, this was a surprise for me, because I ended up almost just getting this out and bringing something in. I was like, there's no way I can even deal with this for 2 weeks. There's no point. It's not showing up. But once I switched application, this was great. Next up, this was interesting. So this is the Jaclyn Hill highlighter. I got the shade Exposure. It looks like this. I know this is super shiny packaging, but I don't know what I was thinking. I think back then I was just in a really collector's mindset. I was like, I need all the colors of this. And so I put this on, and clearly this is not my shade. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, oh yeah, I'll apply it really lightly. It'll be fine. Nope, this is not my shade at all. So I took this out of Shop My Stash after that first day. I mean, there was no way I could make this work. And this is gonna go into I'm either gonna give this to I was gonna say I was gonna give this to my sister, but this isn't even gonna work for her. She's lighter than me. So I'll probably just maybe try and sell this for a little bit of money. I mean, I've only swatched it, used it once, but that didn't work for me. And take it from me, just because something is pretty packaging doesn't mean you need every single shade. You're not gonna use it on your eyes. I'm not gonna use this on my eyes, so I don't know why I have it. And it just takes up space, and it just stops you from seeing the products that you love. And that's something that I really wanna change this year. I wanna be able to see what I have and see what I love. And I find myself, just going on a side tangent, but I find myself not using products because I'm so overwhelmed with so much that I have, and I have to sift through it all because there are things that don't work for me, and I can't see the things that do work for me because they're all mixed up together. And that's just something I want to change. So I switched it up for the NARS. This is the Fort de France highlighter. This is a beautiful highlighter. I know I love this one. My sister actually tried to take it from me, and I told her no, she had to pick a different highlighter. I'm running out of room here. But it's very pretty. It's just a solid champagne color. I wasn't going to use the Jaclyn Hill, and I needed something, and I just picked the first one that I knew that I loved, and worked out great. This is it's blinding, but at the same time understated. It doesn't have glitter. It just has a really nice shine to it. I use it a lot for my inner corners. I'm not right now. I meant to, but I didn't. And yeah, overall solid product. I know this one's really popular. All right, we're almost done with all the products. Let's try and speed through the rest of these. This So I had my brow products. I just had the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. I like the thinner one. I have the shade Medium Brown, and then the Glossier Boy Brow. I don't know if they come in shades, but mine's like a brownish color. So both of these are great. I'm going to keep the Brow Wiz in next Shop My Stash just because I don't have a lot of different brow products and I don't want to have too many open. So I'm just going to throw this in for the next 2 weeks, try and use this up. The Glossier is basically empty. I think I'm going to also declutter this. This is going to go in my empties bin. It's hard to get product out and I'm basically like, look, I'm rubbing it on my hand here and like nothing's really coming out. Yeah, you can see like nothing's coming out. This is done, so I'm glad I finished that. After that, we'll go through the eyeliners real quick. So I have the Tarte Fake Awake. This is just a nude liner. This is how much I have left. I'm so excited about it. I am going to also bring this into the next round just because I'm almost finished with it and I don't think I have another nude liner, and I always use it on my bottom waterline. I feel like I have somewhat small eyes, so I just try to make them look as big as possible, but I do need to purchase another nude liner. Tell me in the comments, because I'm kind of considering purchasing one of the new Danessa Myricks chrome liners. I'm wondering if I can get like that pretty like pale gold shade. Maybe that still kind of gives the effect of the Fake Awake of a nude liner, but also kind of gives it something special. But then I'm also conflicted because I don't want to have too many nude liners. So is that something I'm really going to use every day with every look? Like, do I need the pale gold as well as a nude so I can switch it back and forth? I'm undecided. If anyone's tried the Danessa Myricks new chrome liners, please let me know if you like them. I heard that they're not as shifty, which for me is good, but I don't know, that's kind of what I want to get. And then after that, I have the Urban Decay 24/7 liner. This is the shade Whiskey. This is just a plain dark brown. I use this to tightline and just make my lash line look a little bit thicker. Again, I don't really use too much liner because I try to keep my eyes look as open as possible and give myself all the advantages that I can. I keep looking in the mirror, sorry about that. But this was great. I'm almost out of it. I really didn't, again, I feel like you get through everything and then the last little bit just doesn't want to die. But I am going to switch this out next round, just kind of get through other brown liners that I have. Almost done, I promise. We then have the eyeshadow palettes. So I chose the Kaleidos Futurism 3, the Astro Pink. This is what this looks like. So it's a really pretty color story. I bought these, I believe Mel Thompson reviewed them when they first came out, and that's what prompted me to buy these. Out of the three, this is my favorite color story. So again, this is what I'm wearing today. I really impressed myself with this palette because I can be a little bit withdrawn when it comes to eyeshadow looks. Usually on extremely lazy days, I just put a bronzer in my crease and then the highlight on my lid. I don't even pull an eyeshadow palette out. That's also something that I just want to work on and change and get through some of my eyeshadow palettes. But that's just to say, I stick with browns, I stick with neutrals. And while I did that today, you can see in some of my other videos, I put Light Year, this maroon color in my outer corner. I put Nebula, which was really pretty all over my lid. I really liked that it pushed me to do something that I don't normally do. A side note, I really don't like the packaging on it. It always just is flimsy. It comes back and forth. I always close the wrong side first. Murphy's Law. Still haven't tried the other two that I have in my drawer, the 1 and the 2. But I will, and we'll see which one out of those 3 I like the best. So then we have mascara. This is the Stila Huge Mascara. This is one of my favorite mascaras. I prefer a really separating mascara. Spider, like the little spider mascara, that's like my worst nightmare. I don't like that look, just really clumpy. I like something that's lengthening and separates. I even sometimes prefer a brown mascara, just something a little bit more subtle, but this huge one is great. I actually finished this up today. There's maybe a little bit more, but again, it's it's time to go. I've had this way longer than 3 months, probably more than 6 months. And then for bottom lashes, I have the Wet n Wild Mega Slim Skinny Mascara. It's just easier with my eyesight to use a wand that's skinny for my bottom lashes. So this is great. I also don't need anything that has insane properties to it, you know, that has all the advertisements. Just something very plain, easy to put on the bottom lashes. As long as it doesn't smudge, we're good to go. This one's also empty. This is older than the Stila, so I wanted to pull both of these in, and I knew going into it that after the 2 weeks I was going to toss these, because this one's even, I've been using this one for at least a year. When you're only using it on your bottom lashes, it doesn't go out, but it's time to toss this one. So next I have the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. So I didn't actually pick a setting spray in the video, which I will link above if you haven't seen that one yet. However, I realized it when I was doing my makeup for the first time. I didn't pick a setting mist, so I chose this one. It's almost empty. I even shake it and you can't hear anything. I know a lot of people love this. This isn't my favorite though. I don't know what it is. I don't really like the scent, and I don't know. It's just not my favorite. I'm trying to phase out Morphe products. I know a lot of people will still keep this, but this is gonna go in my empties, and I probably just won't repurchase it. Lastly, we have the Dior Addict. I think this is called the lip lacquer. I looked it up online because all it says is Dior on here. This is great. Again, I'm wearing it. It's a little bit maybe darker than I would like for an everyday shade, but I love this kind of formula. It's very similar to, if you remember when those, what were they called? Those like juicy shakers were very popular. It kind of has that texture to it. It's not oily or liquidy. I'll swatch it right here. And it still has color, but it's not a gloss. I don't know how to explain it. I showed it in my video that it was very similar to this YSL that I have. And yeah, it's just very conditioning. I love this kind of color, this mauve pink color. That's definitely the color that I gravitate towards. And this is just one that I'll continue to use. I knew that I love this one. I had tried it before Shop My Stash, and I knew, I was like, this is what I'm picking for Shop My Stash. I want to get more use out of it. And so that's what I picked. Okay, everyone, so this is just a quick rundown of all the products that I used for the last 2 weeks. Let's go pick some new products, and I will see you at the end of this video. Okay, so just a reminder, this is where I keep all my makeup storage. 3 of these 3 here are all polish, and then these 3 here are all makeup. I got these from IKEA. They're called Helmer drawers. They work perfectly for polish. So you can see here, this is where I keep all my polish, and I just figured I would extend them out to store the makeup as well. What's nice about these is, unlike Alex drawers, they pull all the way back. So you can completely remove the drawers. Sorry, it's loud. That way you don't have the same issues you do with Alex drawers, where I know like they only go so far and you can't reach the items behind it. Okay, let's get started picking out some makeup. Okay, so first drawer here, we have primers. I've kind of been thinking about this, so I think I want to pick the Hello Fab Coconut Smoothie Primer. This one's almost empty. I mean, it's so small, so I'm gonna use that as my moisturizing primer. And then I want to get a little bit more use out of the No Poreblem primer from Touch in Sol. Man, that's a tongue twister. So these are the 2 that we're gonna pick for that. Okay, so I actually have 2 drawers of foundation. I love foundation. It's my favorite category. So we're actually not gonna use this drawer. I have them separated out by shade. These are kind of the ones that fit me most of the year. And then down here, I have the ones that are either ultra light or ultra dark. So back here, I have the ones that are a lot darker. Right here, I have the lighter ones, and then here's kind of the dark ones as well. So since we're in the dead of winter, I want to pick one of the lightest foundations that I have, which I think is this one. This is the Lancome Tinte Idole Ultra Wear. I have the shade 215 Buff Neutral. So let's give this one a shot before I can't wear it anymore and it's too light for me. Okay, after that we have powder and concealer. So for concealer, I think since the Lancome foundation's pretty full coverage, we're gonna go with the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye. I haven't used this in a long time. I'd be interested to see if I even still like this. And I know it's ultra thick. This is the shade Light. And then for powder, think we're gonna use for under eyes the By Terry Hyaluronic powder. This is just the translucent shade. So I just have like a little small one here. I got like a little kit that had the pressed powder, the loose powder, and as well as the primer. So we're gonna use this for under eye. And then I think to set, I don't wanna use anything too heavy because we already have pretty full coverage. So I'm gonna use this Guerlian powder. I think it's advertised as like a universal nude. It looks dark, but what's this say? Yeah, it's the Terracotta Nude powder. I think it's supposed to be fairly translucent and undetectable on the skin, so we will go with that, try and get some use out of it. This drawer is pretty, it's not super full, which is fine, that's good, but this houses all of palettes that are complexion products, so blush, bronzer, highlight that have a mixture. So instead of picking a bronzer, blush, and highlight this round, I think I'm gonna go more for a palette, and I think I wanna use the Smashbox Cali Contour. So this just has 2 bronzers, it has a highlight, it also has a brightening powder. Oh no, that's a highlight, sorry. And a blush. So that way we can knock everything out with one palette and just have less items to kind of sift through. Okay, so here are mascaras, eyeliners, and brow products. We're keeping the same brow stick, but I am gonna grab a different gel. So I'm just gonna grab this Colourpop one. This is on its last leg. I know in 2 weeks I can finish this up. As far as mascara, I think we're gonna use the Thrive Cosmetics. This is a tubing mascara. Honestly, this kind of is just like an eyesore in my collection. It's so heavy and I just kind of want to get it out of here. It's a great mascara, especially for a tubing mascara, but I'm just ready for it to go. And for lower lash line, I think I'm gonna have to grab a new one because I just prefer a skinnier wand. So over here, or back there, you can see all my unopened mascaras. So this one is the Telescopic mascara from somebody, from L'Oreal. So this just has, I'm gonna open this right now. Yeah, so this just has a skinnier brush. This looks like it's actually a brown mascara, which I'm fine with. I sometimes like a brown mascara, so it'll be a little bit more subtle. And then for eyeliner, we're keeping the Tarte one, so that way we can just finish it up. And then I think I want to try and get some use out of the Charlotte Tilbury Pillowtalk eyeliner. This is a really pretty, it's almost like a brown purple color. So let's get some use out of that. So down here, I have mostly my larger palettes. I kind of have all my eye palettes sorted by size. I mean, there's some small ones here, but that's just because they fit. I think since we're using a palette for bronzer, blush, highlight, I'm gonna pick a bigger eyeshadow palette because we have less things. So I think I'm actually gonna use the Stone Fox by Colourpop. I actually have never used this before. This is what it looks like. It's full of cool tones, which I love. So let's just test this one out, see how I like it. And that's the one we're gonna choose for eyes. All right, so lips. I don't want to do anything too crazy. I want to keep it somewhat cool tone though, since we picked a cool tone palette. I think I want to use this little mini of the Huda Beauty Silk Balm. I hear everyone saying really good things about this, and I don't think I've used it. I think it's still, yeah, it's still in the packaging. So let's give this a shot. Hopefully it's clear enough that it goes with all the eye looks. So what do we have left? I think just setting spray. So I'm just gonna grab one because I have them on top of my drawers here. I'm gonna choose the Colourpop Pretty Fresh setting mist. I don't know if this is the full size or not because it's fairly small. I don't think I would have bought a mini, but it's about a third empty, so maybe we can get some use out of this. It'd be great to get another setting spray out of my collection. I have a whole drawer of setting sprays that haven't been opened yet. Okay, so I think that's everything here that we're gonna use. It doesn't look like much, but I kind of just really want to focus on one product per category at a time to really get the maximum use. For 2 weeks, I don't think I'll get too bored of them, which I know can be a problem for some people, but if we need to adjust, we will. So here's what we have. Okay, so those are the products that we're gonna be using for the next 2 weeks. Hopefully we can get some use out of them, maybe finish 1 or 2, we'll see. I'm not too optimistic on this batch. I did mention that this is going to be my last Shop My Stash before March. In March, I do plan on being in Arizona for a month, so I'm trying to pre-film some videos for that, but I won't be able to do a Shop My Stash because I won't have my stash with me, and instead in 2 weeks we'll be doing a Shop My Stash / pack with me, so we'll be picking out products that I'll be taking with me to Arizona, and that might just look a little bit different. However, that's just, we have to roll with life. That's just how we're gonna have to do it. If you like Shop My Stash videos, please make sure you give this one a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I would love to know in the comments if you participate in Shop My Stash, even if you're not doing a video, if you kind of do it just on your own. What's your purpose for? What's your reason? I'm really interested to know just the different reasons people do Shop My Stash, because I feel like there are a few different reasons. People want to give love to more products in their collection. People want to use products up. So I really love to hear your feedback. That is it for today, and I will see everyone in my next video. Bye, guys.